disaster right now.
I moved a rack, so things looked better.
I didn't have a room to move a rack.
Okay, guys, it is Thursday, July 7th, and we have Jenny Moore, who is going to be doing a customer service training for us today. Jenny has a background in customer service, so she comes with a wealth of knowledge, as well as being awesome at her job in LuLaRoe, which is why I asked her to do this training. If you are watching live, you can type in questions on the right-hand side of your screen. And we will do our best to answer them. If you are watching this in replay, we're going to have you please ask questions in the comment section on Facebook. And Jenny, I am passing it over to you, and I'm muting myself, so it's all you, girl.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny. I am Angela Nichols is my sponsor, and I started my LuLaRoe business at the end of February. I actually was introduced to LuLaRoe last summer with Erin. My sister and I went as strangers to her launch party. I fell in love with LuLaRoe then. I had a pop-up at my house the week before I gave birth to my son. And I really wanted to become a consultant then, but obviously that was not a good time for me. So I waited until he was about 6 months old, and then I submitted my paperwork. And Erin's right, I do have a background in customer service. I worked for around 8 years for my family's car company. It's a buy here, pay here car dealership. It's the largest family-owned buy here, pay here dealership in the country, I think. So I was actually started as a customer service rep and worked my way, obviously, in the family company, worked my way up until my boss at the time was like, hey, we're going to throw you into doing some customer service training. And I was like, okay. So I did customer service training for all of the collections and customer service staff and insurance staff. And then once they brought on a business development team, which is everybody that gets any internet leads, so building business, bringing in appointments. So I did all the customer service training for them as well. So, and I also did some consulting with other car dealerships on customer service training. So I do have a little bit of a background. I watched the customer service training for LuLaRoe the other day, and they did a great job at discussing it. They did more, they more discussed situations and how they handle those personally. And I want to talk a little bit more about concepts and how to handle it. And so that way you can kind of integrate that into every situation that you have. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is that you really need to have your goals in line with your customer service. So if your goals are that you want to be a top selling LuLaRoe consultant, you want people to come shop with you, you want people to invite their friends to shop with you, you want returning business, you really need to make sure that your customer service goals or your customer service is in line with those goals. So what do I mean by that? I mean, so my goal is to have repeat customers, have friends inviting friends. So I want to make sure that I'm taking care of customer questions. I'm making sure it's easy to shop in my group. I make sure there's a schedule up of when the shopping hours are, where they can shop online with me or on Periscope. I make sure I invoice quickly. I make sure I ship quickly. And I make sure that if somebody has an issue afterwards that I follow up quickly. That doesn't mean you can't have a schedule or abide by your schedule. That just means that if you have one, follow that. Don't wait for, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, well, I got this dress and it doesn't fit, and now I've texted, I've emailed, and I've messaged, and I haven't heard back. And I'm just astounded that that happens in this business, because I don't know how people come back and shop with you. So anyways, back to the goal. So you need to just make sure that if that's your goal, then that you're following through and you're executing on your customer service skills. So, and I talked to my old boss a little bit. He used to actually work for Mercedes-Benz, and he was like the head of the customer service there. And somehow he ended up with my family's company. But I asked him, and I asked my dad, who is also pretty well known in the buy here, pay here industry. who's actually like president of the National Independent Automobile Dealer Association. So I asked both of them, what are your top 2 or 3 things if you're talking to customers, you're coaching on a customer service? And they both said, you need to have great, clear communication. You need to be prompt and need to meet expectations. So first of all, clear communication. You need to, so most of the time, and luckily, we aren't dealing with people on the phone. Let me tell you, that's a whole different business. And you're going to end up with a lot more upset customers. And when you actually deal with people on message, you can get in front of people on a lot of situations, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so when you're writing your posts or you're emailing people, make sure you're just using clear language. You're trying to spell things correctly. Make sure that, like, so I audit a lot of times, I use my phone and I'll notice something posted, went predictive text and it posted wrong. Like, go back and edit it. Just make sure things are clear. Also, clear communication means, here's how to shop, list the steps, have it in several places. Make sure that that also means make sure that you, when you say something like, okay, so I'm doing mystery leggings with kimonos and shirts today, and that doesn't include free shipping. So I'm making that clear that you get mystery leggings, but that doesn't include shipping. So I'm not using the word free. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, if you pay your invoice, you're getting a pair of leggings as well. So make sure that you're not using any misleading language. So being prompt and timeliness would be the second thing. So if you have a time scheduled, your shop's open certain hours, that's great. Just make sure that if you have a message sitting there and it's your messaging hours, make sure you message somebody back. If you receive a message about, I'm just gonna throw out examples. Let's say I receive a question, I have a sale going on. I don't want to get back to that question 24 hours later, probably, because by then they've probably moved on, or a lot of times they've found something else they like instead. If my sale's going on, I'm pretty much going to make sure I can get back to somebody in a timely manner. And if I can't get back to them, like I'm out of the house, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm not home right now. As soon as I get home, I'm going to check on that for you. So at least I'm responding to the fact that they've messaged me. Same goes for like any exchanges or anything. If I get a message from somebody and I'm working, it's my work hours, and I don't have it, or I haven't checked the mail, I'm just gonna say, you know what, I haven't checked that yet. Here's my exchange days. Here's where I'm gonna process it. I'll get back to you then about it. So it's just making sure that you're at least being prompt as far as, okay, I understand you're trying to communicate with me. I'm going to try to communicate with you as well. People don't, and just like us, think about us. So if we send an invoice, I hate having to try to contact people, and I'll send emails, I'll send Facebook messages. I hate it though, because if you want it, you should buy it. And if I want somebody to be my customer, I should follow up with them. That also means prompt invoicing and prompt shipping. And if you're not going to be able to do it right away, so one weekend we went to the lake and I had my sale going all week, but I kept making sure that I was posting in my group, I'll be invoicing on Sunday, I'll be invoicing on Sunday, I'll be invoicing on Sunday, and I'll be shipping on Monday. I'll be shipping on Monday. So everybody knew exactly what was happening. So it wasn't as quickly as I usually do it, but everybody knows what's happening. People like to know what's happening with their stuff. Just like if they go into the Gap, they're going to buy something, they're going to pay for it, it's going to ship. We're a little bit different, so we have to handle ourselves a little bit differently. And then meeting expectations. And they did say something that my boss always said on the LuLaRoe training the other day, which is you need to under promise and over deliver. So what that means is if my policy is that I'm going to invoice you within 24 hours of closing the sale, and then I'm going to ship within 24 hours of the invoicing, that's my standard. But if I can do it more quickly than that, I'm going to do it. But if I can't, that's okay, because this is my policy. Same with, that's just an example. Same with anything else. If you can do anything a little bit better than what you promised, so exchanges is another good. That one comes up a lot because that's probably where we have the most issues. My policy is 7 days. You have 7 days to exchange with me, contact me. but if somebody asks, can I exchange this with you? It's been 2 weeks. You know what? I'm gonna do it most of the time, unless it's a really strange situation. But most of the time I'm gonna do it. But I'm just setting that expectation of what you should do with as far as my policy, but I'm probably gonna bend the rules a little bit. Let's see. But I'm very clear on what my expectations are on the shop description. So, you need to email me if you want to exchange. You need to, here's my shopping hours or here's my schedule. So if you have those things, if you're keeping a schedule, I would definitely set that up somewhere very clearly. Like these are when I'll be messaging people. Here's when my shop is open. Because other than that, people are like, thinking you're just not responding to them. I think that's pretty much it about, everything seems very common sense. And it is common sense, it's just about executing. So I wanted to talk about, sorry, I'm looking at my dogs. Oh my gosh, my dogs are barking at the mailman. I wanted to talk on a few other points. So, and I did post a little link that has like really great information about customer service, and doing this is really hard to condense everything into 30 minutes or so. But it had like a list of like 15 things that every customer service, every employee or every person that owns a business needs. And I think they're really great. And a lot of that encompasses into those 3 things as well, but I think you should take a look at it. It's really short read. So the other thing is that, we're all going to have problems and we're all going to make mistakes in our business. It happens in every business. So it's just, how do you resolve those issues once they happen? So on my end, part of my customer service is that if I make a mistake, I'm going to be honest about it. And you should always be honest about your mistakes. You shouldn't lie to people. They can see right through that. So you should be honest. And if you know that you made the mistake first, you should go to them first and be like, hey, I made this mistake. If it's something somebody catches from you. So like recently somebody, and a lot of times the mistakes are totally on me because I'm not following my own policies. So for instance, I had a customer recently who was like, hey, I ordered some black leggings from you. I haven't received them. Can you send me the tracking information? Well, this was a sale done through private messaging. She just asked if I had a black leggings, and guess what? I had a plethora. So I was willing to sell some black leggings via private message, and I didn't get her on the Google form, and the Google form is like my checklist. And so guess what? The leggings did not get sent. And so I was like, so what did I do? I made a mistake. How am I going to fix this? I want somebody to keep shopping with me. So what I did is and luckily she's on message. She's not waiting for me to talk on the phone. I found out she didn't get her package. So I said, you know what? That's totally on me. I forgot to send your package. I'm going to throw in an extra pair of leggings, and I'm going to send them both, and they're going to be in the mail today. And so I just got out in front of, by offering us something a little extra, I got out in front of the problem. And guess what? She came back. She kept shopping with me. It doesn't have to be leggings or anything like that. Just like a $5 here and there goes a long way. So we are all going to probably oversell something at some point, because we aren't scanning things in and out for most of us. We're just taking pictures and relying on our memory, or, it's human error. People are going to make mistakes. So a lot of people go to the other groups and ask for items if they've oversold, which is totally fine. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying, personally, I don't do that. I just say, you know what, I oversold. Here's $5 to spend with me anytime. And a lot of times people are just like, oh, okay, I understand. That's totally fine. Thanks for the $5. Like they're more excited for the $5 than they are that piece. So you really just want to like get out ahead of your problems if you can. But people want to feel like you hear them and that you're compensating for your mistakes. And that's where a lot of people get in trouble with customer service, is that they're not willing to just give a little bit to make somebody happy. So on that same note, you want to resolve issues that you have in one touch. And I bring this up because I see a lot of the, hey, I'm looking for this for somebody, I messed up, or hey, this customer wants this, can somebody help me with this? Which I'm good. If that's how you want to do it, that's totally fine. But you should always try to resolve your issues as in few touches as you can. So you don't want to have to keep going back to a conversation just to resolve that, because it's eating up your time. And you don't have, I'm guessing that none of you have tons and tons of time to resolve one issue, because I surely don't. And I like to always bring an example. So an example I have of that is when I first got started, I had a customer who received a pair of leggings from me and they had a little bitty hole in them. No problem, defects, I'll take it back. So I got the leggings back, or actually took a long time to send the leggings back, and I got them back, and I was like, you can pick from any of the leggings I have. I don't have those anymore. And she's like, well, I want you to go and ask other consultants for this other unicorn pair that I want. And I was like, no, that's not I don't do that. Well, and she kept insisting, well, I know that you can go do these other things. And I was like, no, like if you wanted the same pair that were defective, I would ask about those, but I don't. So this is how I handle myself. So you don't want to go back and forth between, this just takes a long time, because then what are you doing? You're either shipping that customer off to somebody else, that's not a big deal either, or you're having to make arrangements with another consultant to get a pair of leggings. And it's for a pair of leggings, like $15 or $14 or something that you're making on that. It's not worth it. So at the end, that kind of brings me to know when to cut your losses. So when is a customer bad for business? And there are customers that are bad for business, and I see this happening all the time, and it just makes me want to be like, don't do this. So when is a customer bad for business? So basically, don't martyr yourself for your customers. You want to stick up for your policies. If you've set your expectations, they should know what you're going to do. Don't think that if you don't find a unicorn pair of leggings for someone, that they're not going to shop with you. They're just out. Those are people that are just trolling the groups looking for certain things. So basically, like the best, and I hate that all of these are just exchanging or unicorn examples, but if somebody is being hard to get along with, or they're really unhappy with what you sent them, or they really want, I need you to go find this for me. Like, if that's not your policy, don't do it, because, it's wasting your time, and it's not really building a loyal customer. So if I have a customer that's really unhappy, and I was actually just telling Erin about one just a minute ago, who received one Azure from me, and then she bought another, and it was running a little bit snug, and she was unhappy with it. And I told her I would exchange it, not a problem. Except she was like really upset that it was snug for some reason, and I explained that to her. And so, you know what? I told her I'd refund her the money. It was not a big deal. You know what? If you're unhappy, I don't want you to be unhappy. Here, I'm going to give you your money back. And guess what? She kept shopping with me, and she's still shopping with me. But I didn't, I don't want to hold on to somebody that's going to just give me a hard time for something that I really don't have control over. Sometimes things are going to fit differently. Sometimes things are just out of our control. There's no way that we can know everything about a product. Which also brings me to another point. I could just keep rolling on. So does that make sense? I don't know if anybody's even watching, about knowing when to cut your loss. You don't have to keep, it does stink when somebody doesn't want to shop with you anymore, but if you did your best, just know when to cut your losses. That's the other big thing, knowing your product. And that's something that I worry about with newcomers and starting their business, is make sure you own every piece that you're going to sell. Try it on, know the fabrics, know how they fit, because people want to know that stuff. And some of the reasons that people shop with me the most is because I can pretty much, without even looking at, I can look at a profile picture and I can talk to somebody about what's their body type, and I can size them pretty well because I know the product. And that's going to help you, and that's going to take you a long way in this business, is if you know your stuff. And it's not, and if I don't know something, I go ask someone. So I don't have daughters, I have a son. But guess what? I carry some of the girls' clothing. So somebody asked me if the leggings at one point were running kind of small for the girls. And I was like, I don't know, but let me ask my sister, because she owns little girl leggings. And guess what? They were running small, and it was something that I didn't know, because I don't have anybody to wear those leggings. So knowing the product you don't think of it as being a customer service skill, but that is a customer service skill. because people are going to come back to you because you can help them. And I've had people tell me that a lot of times, like, thank you so much. You sized me perfectly. So I'm going to keep shopping with you. So let's see. All right, so overcoming objectives. That's the big thing, and that is the thing in customer service that I had to work on with people just over and over and over again. So overcoming objectives, basically there's a few key things here. So you're gonna have issues at some point with somebody, and most of the time if you do all the other things that we talked about, you're not gonna have that many issues with people. I get an upset person like once in a blue moon. But really what you want to do is just have a little bit of empathy. You don't have to sympathize with them. You just want to like, okay, that's a bummer. Your leggings had a hole in them. Let's get that fixed. So you want to empathize with them, and then you want to transition to a solution right away. You don't want to keep going on and on and on about what was the issue. You just want to talk to them about, hey man, that's such a bummer that you had a snag in your Lindsay. Let's send that back. If whatever your policy is, my policy is that I'll PayPal them if they have a defect. I will PayPal them after they send it back, just because I have people that won't send things back. So I'm not going to send them a postage stamp because I might not get it back. So if you make the effort to send it back, I'll PayPal you that money, or I'll give you a credit to the shop, whatever they want. If it's a defect, if it's just a return, they can pay to return it to me. Anyway, so I'll just say something along the line. You just want to acknowledge what you hear with a little bit of empathy. That really stinks, it has a hole, or I'm really sorry that didn't fit you. Let's get you something new. Just send that back. You just want to acknowledge what you hear and then transition with a little bit of empathy and transition to a solution. You don't want to drag out the conversation. Again, this is all about time management for you. So I have some like key phrases and stuff too to use like just in everyday customer service. If I can send that out to everybody, so because it's like a list of things, but just even how you greet people when they do message you. Maybe it's not even a problem, or I guess it could be like perceived as a problem if somebody's like, I don't know how to shop, or I don't know what to pick because I don't know what size it is. You know, you just want to be like, hey, I'm happy to help you with that. That's not a problem. Tell me more about yourself and we can get this solved. So it's all part about just acknowledging or greeting and then transitioning to a solution. So I think that's kind of mostly all I had about like concepts or principles of basic customer service. Did you want me, Erin, to talk a little bit about situations about like in the shop or exchanges, or what my policies are?
If you wanted to kind of do a little overview of that, because we do have so many people who are new, and it would give them a kind of a baseline of what are best practices, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll start with in-home pop-ups. So in-home pop-ups, that's pretty easy because you're in home, you're just meeting, greeting people. But basically, you just want to make sure you greet everybody. You make sure that you ask if they've shopped with LuLaRoe before. Do they know about the product? Take them through the styles if you can a little bit. Somebody new comes in, incorporate them in that, or have the hostess help them as well, because hopefully they've shopped with you a little bit. When they're paying, just talk. I'm just being a little bit chatty. So like, here's your stuff. Here's my card if you have an issue. Making sure that they know how they can reach you, how they can join your group, how else they can shop with you. That's basically, you're not going to have a lot of like issues. You just want to be like present and attentive to your customers in an in-home situation. Help them. This is where product knowledge comes in as well. You want to help them shop and help them, get to the next step, which would be joining your shop and letting them know how to do that. So then like on your online shop, I would make sure that you start. So if you're new, I would start with clear expectations and policies. So for instance, a lot of people, the big one here is going to be, how do you deal with unicorn hunters? So everybody gets into a situation when they start where people are going to start asking you to find things, or do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? And your inclination is going to be that you want to help them. You get in trouble really fast if you do that. So I know you're going to want to help people, and you want customers right off the bat, because you've just spent all this money, and you want to make that back, and you want to grow your group. But make sure that, like, if you're doing stuff like that, you have like this is what I would do. I have an album for that, or just don't do it at all. I had an album, and I recently deleted it because I hate when it pops back up in the top of my feed. I hate it. I don't let people post to my wall. That's one of my policies. I have it as like, I can approve it or not. So if somebody's going to post a picture of themselves in clothing, that's fine. If any questions come in, I delete and private message them, because I just don't want that stuff clogging up my feed. That's not what people want to see in my shop. I want it to look nice and pretty, and I want it to be all about me. No, I want it, I just want to make sure that it's all stuff that's going to help me sell things. It's information, it's people in clothes, it's giveaways, or whatever. So I just want a clean wall. So that's when I make sure that I'm only approving people to join my shop. My husband or I are the only people approving people to join right now. And then on my description on my shop, I have like exchange policy, who's allowed in there. Let me look at it really quick. Lord knows I have Facebook up right now. Where is it? Close. I'm on 2 computers. The work computer's kind of slow.
I have 2 computers going too right now, and this is great stuff for like best practices, how to run. This is all very customer service related, and it's great stuff. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So I have actually I've just recently changed to not doing every Thursday, because I've done so many. I have like pop-ups and then Colorful Life, and then I'm in a few multis that like probably maybe one every couple of weeks. And I'm doing Periscopes now too. So I don't have a set schedule, but so I actually need to update this. I just changed to that, but I update in my shop every week, like where I'll be. I have a pinned post during the week that shows how to shop, how to view albums, shipping information, and care instructions and exchange information. I have that also in my description of my shop. I also had to recently add that when the Americana stuff came, that if you're shopping for a friend, they must come claim their item for themselves, because people will come and claim stuff and not pay for it because they picked it out for a friend. I also have all of my information about paying invoices. It says 24 hours. It's not. I usually will try to hunt somebody down and then delete. That's probably not a best practice, but that's like how I come from a collection standpoint too. Like you work somebody to pay. You picked it out, you pay, and I will track you down. So I say 24 hours, but it's until I'm done hunting you down is really my policy. And then I have all my contact information, email, Instagram, my business page, and Twitter. And that's it. And then, so like right now I have a sale going on for just shirts and kimonos, and I have my pinned post has changed to, again, how to shop, but all in one post. My Google checkout form, how to claim an item, how long the album is staying up, even though it'll stay up longer. I just want to make sure that I'm upfront and everybody knows what's happening and they know where to check out. And each album has all my sizing. Each album has my Google checkout. So and then, online parties are kind of the same because they're also mine. My private online parties, I'm going to operate the same. I'm going to post information. I'm going to post the hours of the sale. I'm going to post all of the same information for shipping, exchanges, and stuff. And then I'm going to make sure my hostess is prepped. That's also a good part of customer service, is making sure you have a good hostess, at least a good hostess prep letter, if you're not going to just chat with them about prepping or what their information is. But as far as like the customer service end, I'm still going to operate my private sales the same as I would my VIP sales, because those are mine. Erin and I were talking a little bit about multis and Colorful Life too. I'm going to treat almost like I would my VIP, unless that I can tell it's somebody that's just in there looking for random things, which we're going to talk about in a second. So, which kind of leads me into adaptability. So you're going to be posting probably at some point in other groups other than your VIP. And so this is where you have to be adaptable. You have to use your common sense. You have to use your gut feelings. And you have to trust yourself. You have to, this is where your goals come in. What's the goal for your business? And you have to, ask yourself some questions sometimes. So I just started doing a few multis. They're not my bread and butter by any means. They're just sometimes a way to move some things so I can get some new things for my VIP or my in-home shoppers. And so those I handle a little bit differently. So the biggest thing I always see is, so-and-so wants to purchase this and they want to exchange this. How do I handle that? Well, in my VIP group, what I would say is if it's somebody that shopped with me before and somebody I know or somebody that's had a conversation with me, asking about shopping or something, somebody that I know has had presence in my group, and I can kind of tell you who those people would be. I would say, you know what, go ahead, send that back. Send that to me. I'll exchange it. I exchange for locals. I'm not going to let you pick something out until I get that item back, because I don't have it. I'm not going to put something on hold for potentially 2 or 3 sales. And obviously there's even exception to that rule. Have I ever let somebody pick something out early? Of course. But, you have to decide, who you're going to do that for and when you're going to make those exceptions. And those are things that really only you can decide. But that's my policy, is that if you exchange something, whether you bought it from me or not, it has to be in my hands before you can pick something else out. And that's for my VIP group. So on the other groups is somebody, if I'm in a multi with a bunch of other shoppers and somebody's like, I really want this Amelia, I have a Julia and some leggings I'm going to send you for payment, I would say, no way, Jose. Like, that's just, no. You need to go, I would say, you need to go back to your original consultant to try to exchange those things. If you want to purchase these items from me, I'm willing to do that. But I wouldn't just start taking exchanges from people. That's really not that's not good business. I wouldn't go buy, and the only thing I could really think of is I wouldn't go buy a car from another dealership and then take it the next day and be like to my company's dealership and be like, hey, you want to exchange this for me? I don't like this. You know what? They're not going to do it because you don't have enough equity into that vehicle. And I mean, that's like a big purchase. Obviously, it's a big thing. But, we are independent fashion consultants. We aren't Gap. We aren't Gap with several locations that you can just go exchange things. We're independent fashion consultants. And I don't mean to make it money-based, but I think your goal is probably to make money. And if you're just exchanging things for payment, you're not making any money. And again, because is that multi-person coming to my group and shopping with me? Probably not. You don't gain a lot of followers from those things, at least in my experience. And, maybe on a certain, you just have to be adaptable and you have to read situations, and that is a customer service skill that everybody needs, is that you have to be able to read situations. Man, I feel like I'm all over the place. You have to be able to read a situation and to make a decision for yourself. And decision making is a hard part of customer service, and knowing what the right thing to do is. And that also ties into not being afraid to lose a sale or a customer, because it's going to happen and it happens to all of us. But don't be afraid to do that. So what other thing am I missing about situations?
Well, what you and I talked about a little bit yesterday, we said, well, stick to your policies.
Yes.
And go with your gut.
Yes.
So I think you hit on that. I think you're good.
Yeah, as long as you have your policy, at least as your front wall, you can make the decision on when to break that barrier. And if you don't, and that's the part with not having policies or not, I think you like if when you start your own, this is just a business advice from me, take it if you will. You have to kind of know like what your core values are. And that's the, I mean, it's the goals thing. Like, what are your goals? Like, honestly, sit down and write them down if you need to, or whatever. What are you wanting to get out of this? Do you want everybody to like you? Do you want everybody to, you know, follow you? Do you want to just be that person that work to death? Do you want to be too strong? Do you want to not bend the rules because that's just what you have time for? Like that, you know, that's, you really just have to sit down and think like what's important to you. And for me, having everybody like me is not that important. Like sometimes it hurts my feelings when people get mad at me. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but at the end of the day, like having a difficult customer or having somebody who's going to now think they can exchange for payment every time they have something they don't want, like that's not, that's the exception to the rule. Like you can exchange with me, yes, or local, yes, on occasion, but that's definitely not the rule. It's the exception.
Right.
So that's it. Are there questions, or is anybody here besides us?
There aren't any questions, but I have a feeling that there will be some when we post the link. I think you did a great job. I mean, customer service has so much more to do with like core values, like you've been talking about, and I love it that you started there and then backed into situations. I think that's a brilliant way to approach it, because really you've got to figure out. Yeah, you've got to figure out what you want your business.
Many years of training, that's how you have to do it, is instill the principle and then go to the situation.
Yep.
So
thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'll post the link right away. And so if you guys have questions, please go ahead and comment on those. And we won't have a training next week because we're going to be at convention, but we will let you know what's coming up next.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thank you.